Dr. Shuchi Mathur welcomes you all in the Managing Business Operations subject. Now today's topic of our discussion is types of production planning and the process of production planning. So let's start with the production planning. As we know that production means to produce something or transfer the inputs into the outputs. Production means to produce something and through the operations. Operations means transfer of inputs into the output. Now next is production planning. Production planning, that means to produce something we have to go for the planning process first. As we all know that planning is concerned, or it is the futuristic approach in which we are planned about what we have to done, how we can do it and when we can do it. So these are the questions arising in the planning process, or we can say it's a forecasting technique through which we can plan accordingly what we have to do, when we have to do and how to do the work. So production planning can be referred to as a technique of forecasting every step in the long process of production, taking them at right time and in right degree and trying to complete operations at the maximum efficiency. The planning of industrial operations involves three considerations, namely what work shall be done, how the work shall be done, and lastly when the work shall be done. And this definition is given by Kimball. So planning is concerned with some questions like what should be done, how it is to be done and when it is to be done. Next is control, production control. As we know that control that means to ensure that everything which we have planned are going in the smooth manner, are going accordingly as per planned. So if any deviations would be there, we have to go for the controlling part. So the control, that means keep watch on each and every activity of the production. So production control is a process that keeps a watchful eye on the production flow, size of resources along with any deviation from the planned action. It also includes arrangement for the prompt remedy or adjustment. Yes, if any adjustment is required, we have to go for the resources that should clarify the problems. Next, in case of any deviation, so that the production may run according to the original or revised schedule. Production control refers to ensuring that all which occurs is in accordance with the rules established and instructions issued. That is the definition given by the Henry Fayol. Now next is types of production planning. So there are 5 types of production planning. First is the job method. We use this method when we want to manufacture the customized product or the product that could be handled by the single worker, or we can say the group of workers only. So this type of method should be done for the small scale or for the complex production. Yes, we are incorporate the customer specification or requirements during the progression of the job, but without altering any process. That is known as the job method. Job method is nothing. It is for the small batch of production and it is done by the single worker, or we can say a group of workers only. So to produce that particular product, we need the skilled employees in our organization. So the job method is, this method includes the task of manufacturing a product that is handled either by a single worker or we can say the group of the workers. The type of jobs that may utilize this method may be either small scale or the complex. This method is usually incorporated when customer specifications are essential in the production. Okay, we use this production. There are few points to be noted that job method should be done for the small batch of production and with the single worker or by the group of the workers, or it is incorporated when customer specification are essential in the production, or we can say we need the skilled employees to do this job. Or considering these components, the customer specifications and requirements can be included at any time during progression of the job without altering the process. Flow method. Flow method, as the name indicates, that the process of producing the product is going next step by step. So this is what the flow method is. That means if one operation is done, the material should automatically move for the next stage, or which the material of the product move from the multiple stages without any gap. That is known as the flow method. So it is very similar to the batch method. The aim is to improve material and workflow. It reduces the labor cost as it is the flow of the process, and ultimately complete the work with much quicker. So it's the time saving also. Differing from the batch method, work progresses as a flow, hence the name, the flow method. That means assembly line that make televisions. For an example, the assembly lines. Assembly lines, that means there may be a line where the output of one should be the input for the another. So assembly lines that make televisions tend to utilize this method. The product is manufactured by a number of collective operations in which materials move from the multiple stages without the time lags and interruptions. Next one is mass production method. Mass production method, as the name indicates, we are going to produce the product in the masses. That means goods are usually utilizing the standard techniques, because we have to go for the mass production. So this is all the mass production. Mass production, that means we are going to produce the number of products at the same time, and for this we have to use the standard techniques. Next is batch method. Batch method, as mentioned before, this is similar to the flow method. This method usually falls under business that are growing, that also have growing production volume as well. It requires a division of work into parts. For a part of work to process, it is essential that the previous parts get completed. An example of a business that uses this would be electronic parts manufacturing, because it requires specialization of labor for each division. That means if we are talking about the batch production or the batch method, that involves the production of identical products made in groups, that means in the batches. The group remains together as it passes through each stage of production until all processes are complete. Changes may be made between batches. For an example, clothing may be produced in batches of different sizes and colors. That means we are produce the number of cloths but in the batches. That means according to the sizes or the colors. So this is what the batch method. Process method, that includes the process, that goes with the process. The method includes the product being produced utilizing a uniform and standardized sequence. Very specific and sophisticated machinery is utilized here, and production is continuous. Now production planning involves the preparation of production budget, devising the manufacturing methods and sequence of operations, deciding types of machines and equipments also, preparation of operation sheets and instruction cards, estimating man, machine, material requirement, undertaking time and motion study, preparing master schedules. Now what is the master schedules? Master schedules is a detailed planning process that tracks the manufacturing output and matches this against customer orders that have been placed. So the master schedule is the next step in planning after the sales and the operations planning. Next would be production planning and control process. Now what will be the process? the production planning and control divided into two parts, production planning as well as the production control. If we are talking about the production planning, it includes first planning, routing, scheduling and the loading. Whereas if we are talking about the production control, it includes dispatching, follow-up, inspection and the corrective actions. So go one by one. First we are going to the production planning, that is with some planning. Like planning, routing, scheduling and loading. So planning is what? What is the task? Routing is what? Where it needs to be carried out. Scheduling, when it needs to be carried out. Loading, who will perform the task. So planning, routing, scheduling and loading. In planning, what is to be done? Routing, where it is to be done. Scheduling, when it is to be done. And loading, who will perform it. Next is planning. It is the first element of production planning and control. Planning means deciding in advance what is to be done in future. An organizational setup is created to prepare plans and policies. Various charts, manuals and production budgets are also prepared. Planning provides a sound base for control. A separate department is set up for this. Next is routing. Routing, that means deciding the path, or we can say routing means sequence of the operations. What will be the sequence of operations? So routing is determining the exact path which will be followed in production. It is the selection of the path from where each unit have to pass before reaching the final stage. The stage from which goods are to be passed are decided in this process. Routing is the specification of the flow, sequence of operations and processes to be followed in producing a particular manufacturing lot. As I already told you that routing, that means finding out the path, or we can say the sequence of the operations. So that is the routing. After routing, after planning, scheduling. Before this, we have to go with the routing procedure, deciding what part to be made or purchased, determining the material required. That means what part to be made, what kind of product should be made, what material is required, and to what material accordingly or the product we need the operations or the sequencing of the materials. Now the determining of the lot size, how much we have to order, determining the scrap factors, the wastage, analysis of the cost of the product also. Now finally preparation of the production control. Next is scheduling. Scheduling, that means performance of the task or the operations that is necessary, or we can say the series of the task. Scheduling we have to do. Now in this scheduling we have to determine the time or date of the manufacturing. So scheduling is determining of the time and date when each operations is to be commenced or completed. The time and date of manufacturing each component is fixed in such a way that assembling for final product is not delayed in any way. That means we have to decide the time as well as the date so that we can deliver our product on time to the customers. The determination of the time that should be required to perform each operation and also the time necessary to perform the entire series as routed, making allowances for all factors concerned. Now the types of the schedules. First is the master scheduling. As I already told you that it is the sub-master plan. It is the sub-master plan in which we have decided the planning process and the manufacturing output. That means it is the breakup of the production requirement. It is the start of scheduling. It is prepared by keeping in view the order or likely sales order in near future. Now next is the manufacturing. Manufacturing scheduling. It is used where production process is continuous. The order of preference for manufacture is also mentioned in this schedule for a systematic production planning. That means manufacturing schedules, the preferences of the manufacturer is also mentioned. Detailed operation planning, it indicates the time required to perform each and every detailed operation of a given process. That means here we are recording or indicates the time required to perform each activity in detail. Next is loading. After planning, routing, scheduling, next step is loading. Now we have to load the product as per the plan or as per the routing. So the next step is loading, which is execution of the scheduled plan as per the route chalked out. It includes the assignment of the work to the operators at their machines or workplaces. So loading determine who will do the work. Next is dispatching. Dispatching refers to the process of actually ordering the work to be done. Now we have to dispatch. Dispatch, that means we are dispatching the material from the supplier to the manufacturer, or from the manufacturing process, that from the one step to the another step, or the final product to the customer. This is all about the dispatching. This refers to the process of actually ordering the work to be done. It involves putting the plan into effect by issuing the orders. Dispatch the orders. It is concerned with starting the process and operation on the basis of route sheet and schedule charts. This dispatching is done on the basis of the routing only, as per the schedule also. So dispatches puts production in effect by releasing and guiding manufacturing order. It starts when we release the order in the sequence previously determined by the route sheets and the schedules. Dispatching procedures, centralized as well as the decentralized. If we are talking about the centralized, that means orders are directly issued to the workman or the machines. We ordered the we give the order, and that is directly issued to the workman, that this quantity or this quality of the product should be manufactured at this time. So this is what the centralized dispatching. It helps in exercising the effective control. Next is decentralized. Decentralized, that means first it go for the foreman or the dispatch clerk, then to the person who is going to manufacture it, or we can say the workman. So under this procedure, all work orders are issued to the foreman or dispatch clerk of the department or section. It suffers from difficulties in achieving the coordination among different departments, because there may be a number of persons involved in this, whereas in centralized we directly go to the concerned person only. Next is follow-up and expediting. Progress may be assessed with the help of the routine reports or communication with operating departments. The follow-up procedure is used for expediting and checking the process. That means after dispatching, the next step would be the follow-up. Now we have to follow up. Is everything is going as per plan, or is everything is done, or we are taking the feedback from the supplier also, from the manufacturer also. So for expediting is nothing. It's the procedure which regulates the progress of the material. What will be the progress? So we are taking the continuous follow-up. What will be the progress of the material in each and every step? So follow-up is progress may be assessed with the help of the routine reports or communication with the operating departments. The follow-up procedure is used for expediting and checking the progress. Follow-up or expediting is that branch of production control procedure which regulates the progress of material and part through the production process. Next is inspection, and this is the second stage. Inspection, that means we have to monitor the quality, we have to monitor the quantity of the products. So inspection is the process of ensuring whether the products manufactured are of requisite quality or not. Inspection is undertaken both of the products and the inputs also. That means inspection should be taken for the inputs also. Is what we are taking the product is a good quality material, because the good quality material can lead only to the good quality of the product. So we have to inspect first what inputs we are taken. So it is carried out at various levels of the production process, so that predetermined standards of the quality are achieved. Inspection ensures the maintenance of predetermined quality of products. Next is corrective measures. This is the last stage. In the corrective measures, if something goes wrong, we have to take the measures. We have to take the actions. So corrective measures, it is related with the adjusting the route, rescheduling of the work if there is a required, changes the workload if required, repairs and maintenance of the machinery or equipment, control over the inventories, certain personnel decisions like training of the workers, transfer of the workers or demotion, etc. Alternate methods may be suggested to handle peak loads. So that is the corrective measures, corrective actions we can say.